As you get close to the NFL draft, you'll hear me say this more than once, so I will pace myself. And that is the people that attend the draft in person, in particular, the middle-aged and elderly adults that attend the draft in person, that dress up in costumes, you are losers. People that cheer on the draft live and in person, you are losers. I only expect that they're there because the NFL, you remember, those live shows or old music videos where the people in the front row are all good looking? You just assume that somebody paid them or gave them a free ticket to be there. I assume that's the case with the NFL draft. Now, I'll wait until the draft, until we have a bunch of losers to talk about dressed up in costumes. But I do want to point out, here's a perfect example. Even though the NFL is 24/7, it's interesting 24/7. It's, it's a year-round talking point for all the right reasons, and we're cool with that. But here is an example of how ill-informed we all really are. The Athletic, which is smart and well done. I get the football, one of the many portions of the Athletic, which is the sports section of the New York Times. I get the football portion, and it is a daily dose of football nerdiness. And it's smart. They have a list of the top 10 quarterbacks. Now, as the NFL draft unfolds, people are going to cheer as if they got the next Tom Brady, the next Joe Montana, the next fill in the blank. And they have no clue who that guy is. They've seen highlights and heard talk shows talk about him, and that's about it. In fact, if you want to know how sketchy the information is and what little people really know about a lot of these players, you don't know. And the position of quarterback is as much of a crapshoot as anything there is. But number 10 of 10 on the list, which I'll be honest, I don't think he belongs at 10. But wait till you hear the description of number 10 of 10 on the list. So here is, and I'll give you a comp of a lot of these guys. Some of these guys, I'll be honest, and I do it for a living, I've seen some of them play a quarter and a half, maybe. And, some I've seen more, but I don't know. Here you go. Notice the name you don't hear until last, and I don't agree. Here's the way to look at the whole thing. If you want a reference point, which I think is a cool way to do anything when you're trying to figure out, am I really into this topic or not? Who is the next Alex Wilson, right? He's the guy taken number 2 by the New York Jets, who was an absolute flameout. Who is Alex Wilson, the total flameout? And then you try to figure out who is this year's Bo Nix. Bo Nix was projected to be, played at Oregon, played at Auburn, then at Oregon, projected to be a second, maybe third round pick. He sneaks his way to the first round because Sean Payton likes him. And next thing you know, you're looking at a guy, you don't have to be a football genius to figure out and watch Bo Nix play. And you say, that is a guy that's probably going to be a really, really good pro for the next 8 years. You don't have to say he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but it didn't take long to figure out when he was on the field, coached by Sean Payton, with an organization that kind of has it figured out now. Well, there's a good pro for several years. So they ranked them this way, 1 through 10. I will spare you the unbelievable amount of detail about their strengths and weaknesses. I'll just give you a comp. Number 1 is Cam Ward. I don't think many of you ever have seen him play. And honestly, not that much. He'll be the first player taken in the draft, most likely. He'll go to the Tennessee Titans, and it will probably end pretty badly because they're the Titans. The comp on Cam Ward would be this, I think. And that is a younger version, a more prime-time version of Russell Wilson, but a little bit taller, but a very similar arm. And a good athlete, really good athlete. Russell Wilson was a really good athlete. He's chubby now, and he's been playing a long time. But when he first got in the league, coming out, second or third round? Really good arm, good athlete. There's a lot to like. And probably most other years, would he be the first pick in the draft? Probably not. Number 2 is Shedeur Sanders. I've said all along, I think he's a pro's pro. I think, you know what I think he is? I think he's Jared Goff. People think he can run better than he does. He doesn't run that well. He doesn't try to. I like that. He's accurate as heck, but his arm isn't super strong. He reminds me of Jared Goff. He's a really good passer, a really accurate passer. He's thrown a bunch and played a bunch, and the moments aren't too big for him. That's my comparison there. Then number 3, Jackson Dart of Ole Miss. I don't know. I've seen him play horrible games, and you've seen him play pretty good games. Then it's Will Howard of Ohio State, who might be the guy that I think is probably better than people realize. He's played at the highest level. He's played in big programs. He's played under a pro coach with Chip Kelly. He's a really good athlete, and he's a big guy. He is there is not. Josh Allen is the closest thing to John Elway that you'll see, and that is a freakishly big, strong athlete who can throw it a mile. But Will Howard is a really big, fast guy with a really good arm. There's a lot to like there. I'm not quite sure I get why he's not more highly thought of, and I think part of it, and this will begin the conversation about number 10 of 10, here's a weird thought. In some ways, guys that play and are surrounded by a ton of talent, it seems to work against them a little bit. In other words, you come away and scouts and general managers and goofball owners come away thinking, well, yeah, but he's got all those guys around him. I mean, yeah, but what about that? Because I think that's what's being used against number 10 of 10. And I think some of that same stuff plays into Will Howard. If you're a Texas fan, you saw him play, and he played really well. Tyler Show from Louisville. I've seen 1.5 quarters. I have nothing to tell you. Number 6 is Jalen Milroe of Alabama. You can go all over the map with that. That's not my pick. That's the Athletics pick. They even say that he'll find his way to the first round. The hope, and I think it's a stretch, but the hope is that is the next Dak Prescott. That's the next Bo Nix. That's what the hope is. That's what people are glomming onto. Really talented guy, solid dude, played a ton of football, been through ups and downs, has got a ton of skills. It just hasn't quite worked yet. That's what he is. Now, I don't know if it hasn't worked yet, why you would bet the house that it's going to work at the next level when it gets light years tougher to play. But I think people think, yeah, but just wait till he gets to the NFL. I mean, I laugh at that comment because it's light years harder. It's not even the same game. But people hope becomes Dak Prescott, right? Big guy, athletic guy, really good arm. For whatever reason, hasn't been a star, enough of a star in college. Riley Leonard of Notre Dame is number 8. I don't get that at all. I don't get it at all. I don't need a guy to run off tackle 3 times in the NFL, because if you're a quarterback and you run off tackle 3 times in the NFL, you play about 3 games. I don't get that. I really don't. Number 9 is Curtis Rourke of Indiana. Yeah, sort of. What is he? He's a... Wow. What is a comp for him? He's a big guy, pure thrower. He's like a stockier version of Shedeur Sanders, but not the best passer, who's a little bit like a thicker version of Jared Goff. There. Then number 10 of 10. You want proof that people really haven't been watching very much? Let me read you the description of 10 of 10. I don't know how someone could come away with these first 2 sentences. Quinn Ewers, Texas. He's number 10. Ewers is a nimble athlete. But, no, actually. Who the hell have you been watching? Have you watched a game? Are you confused with the other guy? It says Ewers is a nimble athlete who can pick up first downs when the defense is out of their pass rush lanes. No. That's one of the things that I don't see at all with him. Though he's willing to scramble, he isn't a big play threat, 6.6 yards per scramble. He has a quick, snappy release, which helps him execute Texas's extensive RPO. No, that's just no. You couldn't. Somebody somewhere is reading this going, man, we got to get that athlete from Texas. Have you seen how fast that quarterback is at Texas? Man, they basically run the veer offense with that quarterback at Texas. Oh my gosh, he's fast and nimble. And then they're going to see him and go, wait, he can't move much at all. RPO means run pass option. Do you know what Quinn Ewers doesn't do? That. Ewers can generate a lot of power without a lot of space on his throws. No. And willing to take chances downfield. He isn't willing to throw the ball in tight windows in the intermediate range and lives off deep balls, deep throws, or quick passes. He's not a precision deep ball passer. Blah, blah. Despite his above average athleticism. Again, no, that's not true. He gets taken down by pass rushers too often and easily. His 23.2% pressure to sack rate, about that, was well above the national average of 18.7%. Bring that up at your next cocktail party. Meaning pressures turned into sacks too often. Ewers has a strong arm and a quick release, but his accuracy, especially his deep ball, is very spotty. To his credit, he's a tough kid who played through injuries, but he's also injury prone. You know, all that stuff's true. Okay, well, see, that's my point. That's not him at all. At all. He's not, he's not a complete stiff. Not a complete stiff. But the idea of calling him nimble and athletic and running the run pass option is completely inaccurate. What is he? He's played a lot. He's a fearless thrower. And he's helped by the fact, this is what I mean by he's going to have probably 3 guys that play around him and catch the ball will probably be taken in the first 3 rounds. Okay, Matthew Golden, Gunnar Helm, the tight end, Isaiah Bond, but that's a tricky one because he's got that sexual assault issue. So I don't know. But I'm just saying, in terms of their talent, he is surrounded by 3 receivers. 3 of them will be taken in the first 3 rounds of the draft. And so when you have that much talent and they're that much faster and you play mostly lousy competition, and they do, the one thing about him that's tough to figure out is he's able to float that ball and let guys go run past everyone and score. A lot of those passes that you see against UTSA and Louisiana Directional and Mississippi State, those are throws you will never, ever, ever get away with in the NFL. He does it a lot, but that's not his fault. It's just hard to figure a guy out. That said, he played well against Ohio State, really well, even though they were outmanned. He got his team a win. Well, a non-targeting call helped a lot, but he got his team a win against Arizona State. So he's not afraid. The limelight's it's not too much for him. I think he's better than 10 of 10. If I was an NFL team and I needed a backup quarterback, a guy that could stick in there that's played a lot of football, that can throw it around, I'd probably be okay with him. But I never once would come away and say, he's nimble and athletic. That's not something anyone has said. He's not in quicksand, but he's not nimble and athletic. And some stiff somewhere is reading that, and they're going to get Quinn Ewers in the 3rd or 4th round, and that guy's going to go nuts. He's going to be wearing a Darth Vader costume at the draft and go nuts like he just got the next Joe Montana. It's funny. Those are the most high-profile positions in the sport. Many of these guys coming from the biggest programs in the sport, and think how little we really know. And think what a project it is. Right? Remember what I said. who's the next Alex Wilson? You don't even know who he is anymore. And then who's the next Bo Nix? And it happens every year. There's those guys are every year, right? I mean, Jaden Daniels was great in college, and he's great in the NFL. We got it. C.J. Stroud was great in college, great in the NFL. We got it. But, the Bo Nix thing, he was really good in college. But they don't know. You don't know. I laughed at this, too, while I was doing this nerdy reading on quarterbacks, this whole list of quarterbacks. I found... I don't know why. I guess my feed is full of nonstop NFL draft stuff. My feed, my algorithm must be tariffs and NFL draft. That's it. It's apparently a person that has very few interests in their life, the NFL draft and tariffs. But I laughed at this one. This is Mike Tirico and ESPN. This is a long, long time ago. And Mel Kiper was around then.
Among the last 6 picks taken, a familiar name if you're a college football fan, Tom Brady, the quarterback who all he did was lead this football team, put them in the right position more times than not. And when he got pulled from the game and Drew Henson came in, Michigan football was not as good as it was when Brady was in.
No question, Mike. Smart experience. This past season, he cut his interception total from 98 and a half, tossed 20 touchdown passes, only 6 interceptions. Threw a touchdown pass, and actually all 16 games he started against Big Ten opposition during his career. Accurate. It was a very catchable ball. He really knows when to take a little off as well. I think that's the key, and he stands in that pocket very tough. He'll take a hit. Question's going to be mobility. He only runs a 5.2, 5.40. And, of course, when you have those edge pass rushers, you have to avoid the initial defensive end, the initial pass rusher. Can he do that at the pro level? Going to New England, Drew Bledsoe, his forte certainly isn't mobility. It's dropping back, throwing the football. Brady can do that, and certainly New England's offense already designed for Bledsoe. Now comes Brady. Can he overcome that lack of mobility?
Michael Bishop's a young quarterback who's in the pipeline in New England. Interesting to see what happens. And you talk about a school producing quarterbacks, you think of Dreisbach, Greasy, Gerbach, Collins, 4 Michigan quarterbacks who are on NFL rosters now. Tom Brady at pick 198 goes to the New England Patriots.
Pick 198. You could walk around your office or your neighborhood, and as a 22-year-old, most of your neighbors could outrun Tom Brady then and now. Pretty easily, too. They might be able to lift more than Tom Brady then. I played that because Mel Kiper had it right. I mean, that was a pretty good description of what Tom Brady was his entire career. And he really was, because Drew Bledsoe was like a better version of Tom Brady. Great passer, great vision, been around, tough guy, stands in the pocket, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff Mel Kiper said about Tom Brady is exactly what we knew about Drew Bledsoe. I mean, they're very much similar players. And then it was the most famous injury of all time. That's the most famous injury of all time. Drew Bledsoe getting knocked out of a game, and Tom Brady takes over. 5.2 in the 40, Tom Brady. There. I tried to spare you too much nerdiness, but I did give you that sack percentage on Quinn Ewers. If you bring that up to anybody, they'll probably take a nap.